Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my classic USFL franchise with the New Orleans Breakers. It's the end of the 2025 season, and congratulations to the London Monarchs for winning the second USFL championship in this franchise, defeating the Birmingham Stallions, coming all the way back from the wild card spot to do so. It was a rough year for the Breakers. We eventually finished 7-10, and kind of a disappointing year after making the conference championship game in the previous year. Taking a look, kind of an overview of where the team stood in terms of team rankings, and as you can see, really the biggest problem with this team last year was the defense. We were 31st in the USFL in points given up per game, giving up 26.1 points per game. And the main problem seems to be the passing yardage given up, as we were 27th in the USFL, giving up 246 yards per game. And the rushing defense wasn't that much better. 22nd in the league. Offense was able to get some passing yardage, but wasn't able to translate that into points that much, as we were 12th in points scored, but 4th in passing yardage. And the run game, surprisingly, that's probably the part that surprised me the most, is we were 22nd in the league. But I thought our running game wasn't that bad, but apparently it was. Couple of retirements on the team, nothing too drastic or significant. Charles Leno, kind of our backup left tackle, retired after 12 years. We also had Jalen Mills retiring after 10 years. So not too bad for our team in terms of retirements. Now, salary cap wise, we're not in too bad of shape, just because we did a pool draft in this franchise. And so, because the way pool drafts worked in Madden, the salary caps, teams aren't going to be salary cap stricken as they typically would be, just because of the way the game assigns salaries when doing the pool draft. So as you can see, we got a roster of 63 players. And so we have about 34.8 million free in salary cap. We obviously have some improvements we want to make, but we're fine salary cap wise. So let's go ahead, and one thing I'm hoping to do, or hope happens, is just getting our morale improved on the team. If we go through the roster here, you can see many of the players just have bad morale just from losing or giving up sacks or whatever. And so I'm hoping some of these press conferences or, random events that happens, help with the morale. Also, I'm going to be looking to change our offensive philosophy, i.e. our playbook, and see if there's a better fit as playbook-wise. We kind of have like more of a, inside running game type offense with play action, and I don't think the Saints playbook is that type of playbook. So we're going to be looking at changing that up a little bit. So let's go ahead and go through some of these storylines and see if they can help us here. Here's a storyline for offensive coordinator. Who do we want to talk to? Let's talk to Stroud. All right, so I guess Stroud is going to reach out to us. Okay, here we go. Coach, they told me you wanted to talk to me. What are you focusing on during off-season workouts? Accuracy, throwing on the run, and play action. All right, that sounds good to me. I'll let you know how much I improve at the start of next year. All right. We don't have complete control over that, unfortunately. All right, here's another message from the offensive coordinator. All right, this looks like, okay, it's the same message he sent last time. Who do we want to talk to? Let's talk to our running back, Algier. I imagine this will be a similar thing here on what he wants to improve. Juke moves, stiff arms, and vision. You know, I'm going to have him work on speed, agility, and acceleration instead. Why? Makes him unstoppable. All right, and we got a press conference. Let's see what happens with that. Press conference is not my favorite part of the game. Coach, let's talk about the next few months. What is your plan for the upcoming season? We want to win the draft. What does that mean? Draft a difference maker in the first 3 rounds. That's going to be tough to, both of these are going to be tough to do. I'm going to say an 80 overall in the first 3 rounds. We'll check back in training camp and see how you did. Well, they're probably going to be disappointed. All right, and we're not quite, we still got free agency to go through, but just looking at the draft board, we do draft, I believe, 11th. Yes. And the latest mock draft has us drafting a power rusher, outside linebacker. The Tampa Bay Bandits are going to have the first overall pick, and this mock has them picking Nate McGee, who might be the top quarterback in the draft. They can definitely use a quarterback. So we're in the re-sign stage here. I do have 3 outside linebackers whose contracts are expiring. None of them are really crazy about re-signing, but I do want to sign at least one of them. Then we go with Dominique Hampton here and offer him a contract here. I'll give him a player-friendly offer here. And he says, nope. So let's try the other guy here. We'll try Jamal Hill. Not sure I want a 4-year deal, though. Let's go a 2-year deal. Nope. That's all good. And we've got a couple of receivers. Hamler is not interested in signing with us. I'm not even going to try him. Javon Baker is. He's still a young guy, 71 overall. He has some interest, so they'll offer him a 2-year deal here. And he is able to sign with us. That is good. We are losing our kicker and our punter. Both contracts are expiring. I'm going to offer to Will Lutz here. I'll just offer him a neutral deal. We pretty much re-signed everybody we were interested in during the season last season, I think. All right, so let's do another storyline. This is a players meeting on the field. My agent's been telling me my number one motivation should be more meaningful. And this is Chris Jones, I believe. Or Travon Walker, actually. I really care about being close to home. Would you change that about me? I guess a scheme fit. I doubt he's from New Orleans. Coach, I don't feel like you built up enough trust. I'm going to keep my number one. Okay, well, why ask me that? Okay. Potential free agent Michael Dixon, a punter for the Express, could be an interesting addition for us in the offseason. Let's check that out. We do need to sign a punter. And that looks like a punter we might want to sign. So let's keep an eye out for him. As we're now going to move to free agency stage 1. So before we start, I'm going to change my offensive scheme to vertical power run. It really doesn't make a difference. It just helps you identify scheme fits, player scheme fits. So vertical power run, I think, is the best scheme for the players that we have. And I'm going to change my offensive playbook to the Pittsburgh Steelers, as that's kind of the type of offense I want to run this year. So looking at the available free agents, we can have 5 active negotiations going on at once. For this stage, Darius Williams has some pretty good interest in us. And cornerback, I think, is a position we need to upgrade. So I'm going to go ahead and make him an offer. He is 33 years old. I'm going to offer him a 2-year deal. So that is one negotiation we have going on. Deron Payne, I think, might be another option here. Defensive tackle. Actually, I think I'm going to pass on Deron for now. And we need a punter, so I'm going to make an offer here to Jordan Stout. I'm going to make an offer here to Elijah Moore. We could use an upgrade at wide receiver. And we'll start out with just a neutral offer here. Outside linebacker we need. I think I'm going to submit an offer here to Jonathan Cooper. He can compete for the starting spot with Damone Clark. I just want a 2-year deal here, however. All right, and that's 4 active negotiations going on. All right, and we can use another veteran right guard, so I'm going to make an offer here to Sean Ryan. I'm going to offer him a 2-year deal. And I don't have the salary cap room, so we're going to have to free up some space. So looking at our roster salaries here, I think the contract hurting us the most is Eckler and James Conner. Unfortunately, Conner still has 3 years remaining on his contract. I kind of regret making that deal. But I made that deal before he kind of hit the wall with his ratings, as he's now a 64 overall. But Eckler isn't exactly great either anymore. So I think I'm going to release Eckler. That will save us some money on the cap. All right, we were able to make our offer to Salyer here. Looks like the Michigan Panthers also in the hunt for him. So let's go ahead and evaluate our active offers here. All right, so it looks like Jamari Salyer signed with us pretty quickly. That is good to see there. Getting him on a 2-year deal. Jordan Stout, the punter, also signed with us. So we got him 78 overall on a 2-year deal. We also got Darius Williams, the main guy we targeted for at corner, which was a position of need. So got him on a 2-year deal as well. So we weren't able to sign an outside linebacker, and we're up against the salary cap once again. And looking over our salaries here, Jason Hargrave is eating up a big chunk of our salary cap here, and he's our 4th best defensive tackle. So I think we're going to end up having to cut Hargrave here. And let's see if we can get active in free agency again and see if we can pick up a linebacker. All right, we have Akeem Davis Geither here, who is still available. He has no offers from any other teams. So I'm just going to make him a neutral offer here. All right, and Gaither did sign with us. That is good. It's going to be hard for us to be any more active in free agency the way we're up against the salary cap and the available players that are still out there. We can use a backup left tackle. Let's go ahead and make an offer here to Jake Matthews. All right, and Matthews did not sign with us, but we're still the top candidate to get him. We'll go ahead and move to the next stage here. Interesting, the latest mock draft has us taking Trey Belser, corner from LSU. Corner would be a position we would consider in the first round. And good news, Jake Matthews did sign with us in the second stage of free agency. We got him on a 1-year deal. Looking at some wide receivers, I think that's another position we can upgrade. I see Zay Jones is still available here, and he does have high interest. Someone like him, I would like to get a 2-year deal here. Let's make him an offer. And we were able to sign him. So that's good there. So going through the our current roster, we have, I believe, 56 players under contract. Here are the players we have under contract at the wide receiver position. As you can see, we just signed Zay Jones. That's about kind of a middle tier group. Again, morale is low, so a lot of these overall ratings are deflated. Tight end. We drafted Andrew Callaway pretty high last year. He hasn't progressed that much. At left tackle, of course, we have Jake Matthews here that we just signed. Miles Mays, our top pick last year. He's stuck in a 74, but again, morale's an issue. We got 3 centers we're probably not going to end up keeping. Becky Becton's a pretty good player at right guard. We have Anton Harrison. We may look at drafting a tackle in the draft. Javon Walker, defensive end. We're pretty solid. We've got 5 players there. We only have 3 defensive tackles. Outside linebacker, we do have 5, but 4 of them are on the right side. 2 middle linebackers. A bunch of corners. Got 2 free safeties and 2 strong safeties. So I'm kind of curious to see what's still available at defensive tackle here. Kind of want some flexibility. So you kind of want players that are going to be that you can move down to the practice squad, if able. So that's kind of looking for young players here. Yeah, I think I'm going to stay pat there. I think that's all we're going to do for free agency, honestly. So let's go ahead and advance the stage. So now we need to choose our private workouts. I think we're going to pick Taylor Washington. I'm going to try a different strategy. Maybe some of these players down the draft board. I already love Tyrone Blair, and he's already 95% scouted. So I think I'm going to do a private workout with Gillespie here and get him more scouted. And that'll be our second player. And for our third player, I think I'm going to go with Sidney Hart here, a power back. We can use a young running back here. So that'll be our 3 players to do private workouts with here. And it looks like the Tampa Bay Bandits have drafted their quarterback, McGee, as he comes onto the stage. Big position of need for the Bandits. And the Barcelona Dragons are up next with the second pick. And it looks like Rivers. And that's a linebacker. And you got the Arizona Wranglers next. Don't want to see the linebackers go off the board. As Posey now comes off the board. the right tackle. Now you got the Memphis Showboats. Looks like they picked a wide receiver. I love this draft presentation, although, having audio would be a lot better. That is Broyles, the wideout. Now you got the LA Express. And they had drafted Escobar. Looks like maybe another wide receiver. Crowd seems to be booing that pick. Next, we got one of our division rivals, the Shreveport Pirates. And there goes another one of those linebackers. As Mitchell comes off the board. That guy doesn't look like a linebacker. He looks more like an offensive lineman. Now, I've paused the draft here on pick 8. This is 3 picks before our pick, and Kevin Atkins has dropped and it's still available. Top 5 talent, projected anyway. Not exactly the type of linebacker we're looking for, but look at his physicals. He has elite speed, good strength, good everything, great acceleration. He has good skills: A, stamina; A, B, awareness; B, play recognition; V, pursuit, which are all good qualities for an outside linebacker. There are some questions about his coverage abilities, but I can live with a mediocre linebacker in coverage. So do we make a move and trade up a little bit to get a player like Kelvin Atkins? So who else could we possibly target at pick 11? Could we draft somebody like Kirkendall, who has elite agility, acceleration, and speed for a defensive tackle? He was the best defensive tackle in a 3-cone drill. A, play recognition; A, finesse move. So I think Kirkendall would definitely be an option as well. And Tyrone Blair, one of our players we tagged as a favorite, would probably still be available. Better overall defensive tackle, but not quite as physically gifted. As you can see, he says A, play recognition; B, stamina; B, power moves; B, awareness. Does have some injury concerns, however. He's rated D in injury. And you can see here he has elite strength, but his agility and his acceleration are still great, but they're not elite. Moving ahead to the next pick in the draft is the New Jersey Generals. Let's see who they picked. Kirkendall. That is the defensive tackle that we just spoke about. And the Baltimore Brigade is next. And they have drafted Hutchins. And he is a left tackle, which is not a position we were looking for. So only one more pick until we're up. Let's see who the machine pick. And they took Atkins. That is a bummer. we were one pick away from being able to get Atkins. So looking at my options here to trade down, most of these offers are offering picks for next year, but I don't want to move down that much. The Knights seem to be offering the best option, without moving down too far. This offer here is for moving down 7 picks. And we would get a 7th round pick this year and a 3rd round pick next year and a 7th round pick next year. That's not terrible. It'd be nice to have more options here, though. This is dropping down all the way down to 30. This is dropping all the way to the 2nd round. This is dropping to 22. But the compensation's all for next year. So this one for the Renegades is dropping down 6 picks, and we would get a 3rd round pick next year. But the Knights are offering a little bit better compensation. So I think that's what I'm going to take the trade offer for the Knights here and trade down 7 picks, as I'm not really in love with any players at this spot. And the Knights are on the board, and they take Shane Hawkinson, their quarterback, which might be a little bit of a reach. We'll have to wait and see. Let's go ahead and skip ahead in the draft to our pick at 18. All right, our pick is up at 18. Let's see who is available now. So Tyrone Blair is still available. He is a player we had keyed on. I didn't feel comfortable picking him early at 11. Tyrone Blair, I think, might end up being the pick here. Let's take another quick look at him. He has elite strength, great acceleration and agility, and speed. Pretty good power moves and awareness and A play recognition. Block shedding C, you'd like that a little bit better. And his injury, as we mentioned earlier, he has a little bit of injury concerns. But so far, he's looking like the best pick here at 18. At Trey Royal here. Good coverage skills, play recognition. Just wouldn't like taking a free safety this early. Not a bad prospect. Yeah, I'm thinking Tyrone Blair is going to be the pick here. Let's bring him up on stage, give him his jersey. Good pick. He was ranked 37 in true value. All right. Well, at least we got a good pick rating there. For our second round pick, now if we look closely here at Sidney Hart, who we did private workouts with, we scouted him as a first round talent. And he is a player we would definitely want on the team, but is picking him here with the 11th pick in the second round. Would that be a bit too early? As I'm not sure he would be in danger of getting picked this early. Though he is projected to be in the second or third round. So that's kind of the conundrum I'm having right now. Not really in love with any of the other players in this area right now. You know, we're going to do it. We're going to take the best player available, and I think the best player available is Sidney Hart, the running back. Bring him on the stage. Or watch him on TV, I suppose. Number 12 in true value. Holy crap. But they still only give us a B for a grade there. So how do you get an A? And win round 3. And I think this is a good place to pick Taylor Washington. Outside linebacker. Look at his physical abilities. He's elite in various areas here. He's good in coverage, which kind of aligns with our scheme. He has A awareness, A zone coverage, B man coverage, B stamina. I think this is an easy pick here. Let's go ahead and draft Taylor Washington here in the third round. And hopefully we get an A grade for this pick. B plus. All right. I guess I don't understand the grading because it says 72 in true value and drafted him at 75. All right. So looks like we made a good pick. We're now in the fourth round where every pick is pretty much going to be a gamble at this point. I'm seeing Mike Albert here, who does have elite acceleration, agility, and speed. His skills are kind of mediocre, very mediocre, but we're in the fourth round, so I'm going to go ahead and pick him. These physical attributes are the toughest ones to make gains in. So if I see a player who has great physicals and maybe their football skills aren't that great, I'm willing to take a shot at them. Okay, we get an average grade there. All right, we're in the fifth round. I see Connor Rainey here, sitting here with elite acceleration, good speed. He did pretty well at his college pro day. in the vertical in pretty much all areas except bench press, but who cares for a wide receiver? I'm going to go ahead and draft Connor Rainey with the 5th round pick. And we get an average grade for him as well. Not a surprise there. All right, with our next pick, we're going to take middle linebacker LaMarcus Watkins. As these picks are starting to throw darts at a dartboard here. All right, we got a C+ for that one. And with our 7th round pick, we're going to take a quarterback, Richard Richardson. He has some good accuracy ratings, actually. So his throw power is pretty good. So why not? All right, we got a C+ for that. All right, we've reached the end of the draft and taken an initial look at our player ratings. I think we did pretty good. Tyrone Blair, our 1st round pick, defensive lineman, 74 overall. Look at Sidney Hart sitting there at a 76 overall, drafted in the 2nd round. Even Taylor Washington, 72 overall. So these players have opportunities to, to progress. So these, especially these top 5 players, definitely have potential of making an impact in our first year. All right, it is time to run training camp. And I just ran training camp in the Madden Trainer tool here. I sorted the players by years pro so we can see how the younger players did first. And as you can see, we have 3 players with a mystery development trait. Unfortunately, Tyrone Blair, our 1st round pick, did not have a good training camp. He actually lost some strength and only gained a point in block shedding and awareness, so his overall remains a 74. However, Sidney Hart, the running back, had a good training camp as he gained 2 points in strength to an 86. And he actually gained 2 points of overall rating. And so he's up to a 78. We also had 4 other rookies gain 1 point of overall, which is good. Mike Albert gained some man coverage and awareness. He's up to a 72. Connor Rainey, the wide receiver we drafted, gained some awareness and some route running. He's up to a 71. Our first year players who were rookies last year didn't fare so well. Miles Mays, a 1st round pick last year. He had good practices, but he didn't make any gains. That tells me his potentials, you may have already reached his potential or near his potential, which is not good. I'm going to sort the players now by position. We can see Graham Barton, our starting center, had a good training camp. He's up to 79. Marcus Jones, who is rapidly becoming our best corner. He's now up to an 82. He's actually tied with Stephon Gilmore now for having the best rating in the secondary, in the corner room anyway. Defensive tackles had a horrible training camp. Many of them, almost all of them, lost something. That's not good to see there. Tyler Algier, our starting running back, made some more gains. He's up to an 89. So our running back room looking pretty good. Travon Walker, defensive end, gains 2 points. He gained 4 points in his power moves and another point in awareness. He's up to an 86 overall. So good to see that. Robert Spillane, our starting middle linebacker, up to 79. Although he only made 1 point progress in awareness and lost some speed, but that was still good enough to gain 1 point of overall. Richard Richardson, the rookie quarterback we drafted in the 7th round, he only made 1 point of progress in his throw accuracy deep, but it was good enough for 1 point of overall rating. Stroud just got some short accuracy. And Bailey Zapp, who's made tremendous progress since joining the team last year, he's up to 76. We had Cam Jones, one of our backup linebackers, getting a bunch of progress in zone coverage and man coverage. He's up 2 points to 67. Brian Thomas Jr., who made steady progress last year, he's up to an 80 now. Getting some more route running. Chris Olave, up to an 88. We'd like to see him, contribute to the team more. And Zay Jones, who we signed in the offseason, he may have progressed more than anybody in the wide receiver room. He's up to a 76. So overall, a pretty good training camp, I think. Let's go ahead and take a look at the roster in game. So I'm gonna sign some free agents here, just to have numbers. We need another tackle here. We only got 3 tackles under contract. Christian Jones, 71 overall. He's practice squad eligible. I'm gonna go ahead and sign him. And I definitely want to take out some flyers on rookies. Now, just so I don't take advantage of the CPU, I kind of have a house rule where I can only sign 3 rookie free agents. So let's go ahead and do that. And the general idea here is to, just see how these rookies progress during the preseason. And if you see them making improvements, they might be worth keeping on the roster. So Dwayne Rice, I think would be a good candidate here. We could use another strong safety in camp. Go ahead and sign him. So we actually have a 74 overall rookie kicker here. We'll get a flyer on him. And we got Max Farr here, right guard rookie. Go ahead and sign him. All right, and what I typically do here for the preseason, I just fast sim the preseason games. However, we do need to go through weekly training every week. So I'm going to do that, before simulating each preseason game. And I will come back here on the video and we'll see the results. Be back in a bit. All right, we're back. We fast sim through 3 preseason games and 4 preseason weeks. And the team has finished up training camp, and now it is time to cut 17 players, which is very easy in Madden, right? Not really. So let's go by position here. Let's first look at the quarterback position. The main question here is, did Richard Richardson show any potential during training camp to keep him on the roster? And I think the answer is probably not. So I'm going to sign another third string quarterback and then cut Richardson. There's actually some veteran quarterbacks still available, but I don't want to pay the money in there. The overalls really aren't that good. But I'm going to sign Connor Jackson here, who's a rookie, and kind of see how well he can improve over the course of the season. All right, and with that, we'll have to say goodbye to Richard Richardson. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to move Richard Richardson. Actually, I'm going to move Connor Jackson to the practice squad. At halfback, I think we're pretty well set. The top two positions, especially James Conner, he's kind of hit the wall as a running back. We're paying him a lot of money. We can't put him on the practice squad, but we can put Isaiah Davis on the practice squad. So I'm going to put him there. That'll free up one position at least, one fullback. Okay, we have 8 wide receivers. Garrison Edwards, I think he's going to need to go to the practice squad. Same thing with Javon Baker. Of course, the risk is, we lose those guys. Somebody can sign them off the practice squad. Tight end position, I think we're set there. 3 tight ends. Let's see, at the tackle position, we have 4 tackles. We'll leave that there for now. 5. All right, so we have a total of 8 interior linemen. That's too many. I think we can get rid of Jalen Sundle here. I see no potential, and I see no reason to keep him around. We'll just release him. Max Farr, I think we'll send him to the practice squad. Let's see, at defensive end, we have 5. This is going to be a tough one to swallow here. Isaiah McGuire is going to have to go to the practice squad. Oh, and he's not eligible for the practice squad, so that's a problem. Yeah, I'm... Gosh, we might look at trading one of these defensive ends. We have an abundance of talent here at this one position. All right, let's look at defensive tackle. Let's skip over defensive end for now. I'm going to leave that alone for now, numbers-wise. So we have 5 right outside linebackers. I just don't think we're gonna be able to keep many of these guys around. Alan Cosby, we will just outright release him. Cam Jones, let's see if he's practice squad eligible. He is not. Mario Roth is. Let's move him to the practice squad. LaMarcus Watkins, we can move him to the practice squad. An abundance of corners. Just an embarrassment of riches here. Devon Joyner is going to have to go away. Don't need him. We'll just outright release him. Now, the main determining factor for these 6, especially, after you get past the top 3 corners, is how well they've been progressing. And Darryl Luter just hasn't been progressing compared to the other guys, so I think I'm just going to release him. I think Aaron Robinson is going to be the one that's going to have to go out of this group. He has made 0 progression this entire season so far. Yeah, I think Kalen King we send to the practice squad if we can, and we cannot. So I'm gonna leave this at 7 for now. And see where we're at there. So we got 2 free 69 rated free safeties, and Andrew Barber and Jalen Simpson. Let's see how those 2 have been progressing during the season. And I'm looking at the Madden Trainer 2 off screen. So, and I see Andrew Barber was lethargic in last week's practice, but he has gained 4 points of zone coverage during the preseason. And Jalen Simpson has showed more steady progress, but not as much. So let's see. Can Simpson go to the practice squad? He can. I'm going to send him to the practice squad. And we got 4 strong safeties. I think Dwayne Rice can go to the practice squad. Rashawn Battle, I think we can send him there as well. All right, so that puts us, we only have 3 more players we have to cut. This is where it can kind of get difficult at times, but we got to do it. Unfortunately, we'll have to say goodbye to Corey Trice. We just have too many corners. We have to, it's a numbers game. So that means 2 players remaining. We're going to have to release. All right, and we'll have to cut Damari Mathis as well, as he has no trade value. And that leaves us with 1 more cut to make. 5. I think Cam Jones is going to have to go. All right, so I think that's going to do it for our off season. We got our roster down to 53. The Breakers' first game is against the Milwaukee Rage. So be sure and be on the lookout for live streams of the games in the USFL. I'll be back with an update video in a few game weeks. And be sure and like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know how you like the USFL compared to like the NFL franchise that I've started. And I will see you next time.